Hello and welcome in Tennessee Valley this morning on WTMB. Joe and Kim Palo with you today. What day is it?
What day is it? What day is it? Hump day.
Hump day. It is Hump Day. It's Wednesday, and we thank you for joining us today. We do want to say that today is a kind of a solemn day. Today, of course, is 9/11, and today that we will never forget.
We will never forget.
2001, the tragic. What I
Terrorist
want to say, terrorist attack.
Terrorist attack is exactly what it was.
Happened, and of course,
I always, in my life, and I see it now, is before September 11th and after September 11th. I mean, in 2001, there are so many things, even when, I'm watching television and you look at the date on a movie when it was made or whatever, you think, oh, that was before, before everything changed, because our world really did change 12 years ago.
Yes, it did.
And we won't ever forget, but at the same time, I think we're strong and that
resilient.
we showed them what us Americans
are made of.
That's
exactly right.
Did make a lot of other people happy in the meantime, but hey.
Yeah, but it is a day of remembrance, and we hope that you will take time today to remember, obviously, the tragic incident of 9/11. And we have with us, we'll talk about our guest in a few minutes, and we'll kind of discuss that's happening today, in fact. But it is a beautiful day outside. We've got beautiful sunny skies, and it's going to be a nice day. And we're glad that you've decided to join us this morning.
Are you just dying to say the Dolphins won Sunday? Are you
dying?
I
was working into it, Kim.
I know it was going to be solemn. Right?
It's solemn.
I mean, you were going to be solemn.
And now we're getting to into kind of fun loving now. And the fact that the Dolphins did win Sunday in the very first game of the new season.
We started. I don't remember the last time we won an opening game.
It's just been a few years. Not as bad as some.
It's been a while.
But it hasn't been that long. It's been a few years. But we are excited that we did win. In fact, I had to text my buddy Matt Tolbert, big Dolphin fan. I also texted my other buddy Matt Ryerson, who is a big Cleveland Browns fan, and it's always given Matt Tolbert and I a hard time about the Dolphins. So I had to text him and let him know that we are sorry.
Well, for those of you who don't care and didn't watch, the Dolphins played the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, the Dolphins played the Cleveland Browns and won.
Yes.
And as Ron likes to say, he uses the word the pickers. All the pickers were picking Cleveland, but it wasn't the case. And we're excited. We got a great week now. We're on a high for this week, and then Sunday will be Game 2. We play the Colts Sunday.
Right.
In Indy.
And we hope the offense does show up this week.
I mean, we scored 23
defense,
points.
I know, but
as long as we score more points than the other team, we're good. I mean, I don't care if it's, the smallest score you can get is 2-0, a safety. So as long as we win 2-0, I'm fine. I'm fine with that.
Well, congratulations. I was very happy. We were all very, very happy.
We were.
And my life is much, much better when the Dolphins win.
Yeah.
So I pull for them probably stronger than anybody else.
But it was a great day.
It was.
We had good food.
We did. We had great food, great friends, had a good time.
Friends, right, and enjoyed the ball game. And I know our good friend, Johnny and Roseanne McDonald are excited.
Yes.
Because he's a big
Well,
Dolphin.
Roseanne's excited because
She's
Johnny's
excited
happy.
because Johnny. It's the same thing with you.
Yes. We didn't even text about it yesterday. I forgot to do that.
I didn't either. I'm thinking about it now as we're talking.
I know. I was so shocked and was in such shock. And I was.
Wait a minute.
I was.
You don't want to upset,
I wasn't shocked. It's been a long time since we've had an opening game that we won, and that things have been happy on that very first football Sunday. And so I was in such shock that I forgot to text Roseanne.
Yes, but we will do that. We'll
Yes.
do that today. I mean, we're still on the high of the week, so
That's right.
It's still good. It's still fresh. But in any case, so I'm sure you all care much about that. But in any case, and also we do want to make this announcement. This Friday night, our plans are to broadcast the Ray County Walker Valley game live on television. So it's Walker Valley homecoming. Those are our plans. It's homecoming.
Those of you that like to put a little wager here and there.
And then of course, you can join us for Football Friday later on Friday night as well, as we go live and talk about the ball games, that particular game.
And it will be live for absolute sure.
Oh, well, Football Friday is and it's beautiful. We just enjoy the new set and the whole deal. But in any case,
great.
But we've got a great show for you today on this Wednesday. I'll let you tell us, our guest, I should say.
All right, first of all, we are going to have Kay Horner. Kay Horner is here, and she is in charge of Cry Out America. I'm not sure what her title is exactly, but I know she's in charge and so of Cry Out America, and that is a tribute with 9/11, and she will be talking about the event that is planned today at noon at the courthouse and talking a little bit about what Cry America has been for the past few weeks. There's been constant prayer for
Since
our
the 4th.
country since the 4th of July for our country.
September. July.
I'm sorry,
What month
July
are
the
you in?
4th. I know what month
Yeah,
am I in?
4th of
I'm
July,
sorry.
no.
September the 4th. I'm sorry. I
That's
got
all right.
into the holiday, that patriotic
You did.
holiday. And then we also have Jay, and he's from Blood Assurance. He is coming to talk to us about what Blood Assurance, they've got some promotions that are going
Hopefully
on.
it's nothing around the 25th because you'll be saying Merry Christmas. So we can't,
You
we'll
gonna make
find
fun
out.
of me
No,
now?
I'm not going to make fun. We'll find out from Jay. Will make fun of you.
Jay will make fun of me. That's okay. But he's going to talk to us about blood assurance. And the blood banks were very important
Yes.
at September 11th. And
Yes.
so you can find out today about where you can donate and how you can even register for. They've got some great prizes for this month if you win. So, and also Ron Moore is here, and he's going to tell us some.
It's like
truths.
in
He's gonna tell us
passing.
some
See
more.
that, Ron? It's like, boy,
Ron- Ron's our man.
Kay Horner,
Yeah.
Jay Baumgartner, and Ron Moore is here.
No, Ron Moore is my buddy, and he's here each and every Wednesday morning to tell us something that we didn't know. And he's educated us quite a bit about the history of Bradley
Yes.
County. So we've got a great show today.
Yeah, we do. And we're going to get right into the show. We're going to take this commercial break, and we'll be back with Kay Horner and a lot more from Tennessee Valley this morning when we return after this. Stay tuned.
Town Americana, where trucks are big and bold, and a handshake is firm, and your word is gold. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens is a $2,000 drive. Maybe you're coming from here or here, doesn't matter. Buying a truck from Don Ledford in Athens will save you at least $2,000 bucks. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens, a $2,000 drive worth making.
I'll take that drive every time.
At Crawford Pharmacy, we offer custom compounding. Our pharmacists are known for their attention to detail and unique expertise. So visit us at 2260 Chambliss Avenue, Cleveland, Tennessee. For personal assistance, walk right in or come up to our convenient drive-thru. Crawford Pharmacy, serving our community one person at a time.
On the anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attacks, Cry Out America gathers Christian believers at county courthouses across the nation to cry out in prayer. Each of us has a reason.
I believe in the power of prayer.
I'm doing this for my kids.
I'm praying for my friends.
I can't do it alone.
Spiritually, man, this country is falling apart.
But I've seen God move before.
This September, we will unite once more with one purpose: to focus prayer on awakening every state, every county, and every heart for Jesus Christ.
We need to turn.
Return
I need to turn.
Humbly.
to God.
What is your reason?
Go to awakeningamerica.us to find a prayer gathering in your community.
Then join us.
At noon on September the 11th.
in front of your county courthouse.
Together, we will cry out to the Lord.
Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast in Cleveland, is the place to find quality pre-owned cars and trucks. Kyle offers on-the-spot financing on all vehicles on the lot. Each pre-owned vehicle goes through a complete inspection to make sure each car and truck meets the Kyle Motors standard. Warranty and extended warranties available on all vehicles. Kyle Motors will sell you a car or truck that you will be proud to drive for many years to come. See Tony, Bill, Dale, James, or David and let them put you in your next quality pre-owned vehicle. Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast. Phone 790-7100.
Are you having trouble filing for disability?
Seems no one is concerned about your pain, the waiting, the denials.
While some representatives will meet with you in court, we will meet with you now to discuss your plan. We'll review with you the same file that the judges will see. Call us now. Social Security Law Center at Logan Thompson.
You're entitled to better.
This segment of Tennessee Valley This Morning is brought to you by Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland and 2120 Chapman Road, Chattanooga. For your next new or previously owned vehicle, make it Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, the better way to buy. Welcome back to Tennessee Valley This Morning on WTMB. Go like this so I can get
You want your whole body in the show?
We are now joined by our good friend Kay Horner of Cry Out America, and Kay has joined us this morning. Talk a little bit about the Cry Out America event that's happening at noon today at the courthouse. Kay, thank you for being with us.
Thanks, Joe. It's good to be back with you. Heard good reports about the last time we were in.
Terrific. Now tell us, for folks maybe that didn't get a chance to see the little interview we did about Cry Out America, how it got started and what it's all about.
Well, Cry Out America is a grassroots prayer initiative that's part of the Awakening America Alliance, which is really a broad coalition of Christian leaders and people across the nation who come together for prayer, for fasting, for initiatives that help to bring back the renewal and the awakening in America as we've had in the past, but yet we don't feel like we're called to maintain a memory.
Right.
There were great awakenings in the past. We're in a different day today.
Mm-hmm.
We feel like we're really called to move forward into the power and victory that God has for the church today in America that will affect a broad scope of our society.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, the prayer vigil has been going on since September 4th.
July, thank you.
As Kim likes to know it, it's July 4th. And it's been going on, of course, up until today.
Right.
And then today at noon at the courthouse, Bradley County Courthouse, from noon till 1 will be the prayer vigil that will happen at the courthouse steps.
Right. In the local area, Cry Out America has been active for 6 years now. This will be our 6th year. The first Cry Out America was birthed in the heart of Billy Wilson. Many people in this community remember Billy. Your dad and Billy were very good friends, Kim, and he was the international director for the Center for Spiritual Renewal and had actually been on a flight right after the Christmas season. You know, when you've been eating, watching a lot of football, spending time with the family, and you're just kind of a little bit in that lethargic state. And he got on a plane, headed to speak at an event, and he thought, I'm just going to put up my invisible plane shield here. I've got to get my head focused and get alert. And there was a young man named Gabriel sitting on the plane beside him. And Gabriel was the son of a minister, and he apparently was being moved to a different location because of some trouble he'd gotten into at home. And he began to notice that Billy pulled out his Bible. And he said, is that a Bible you've got? And Billy said, yes, I'm a minister, and kind of let it lay at that. And then right before the flight was to land, he kind of got a nudge, like the Holy Spirit jabbed him in the side and said, wait a minute, you're about to miss an opportunity. As he began to talk with this young man, he realized that Gabriel, even though he had grown up in a minister's home, was not even aware how to become a Christian. He didn't even really know how to get his life back on track. And he began to share with him and talk with him. I think maybe he prayed with him before they got off the flight. But later, as he was reflecting on that, he got another nudge, Billy did, and he realized that that's the condition of the church in America, that we've gone to sleep. And there's a whole generation of Gabriels out there that are wanting to know where they can find peace, where they can find that love, that relationship that they often seek for in gangs or whatever. And he began to meditate and pray and think, we've got to have a fresh awakening in America. Then realize that September the 11th, 2001, that God really gave the nation of America a wake-up call. And you know, for a time, we bought more Bibles. We met in our churches for prayer. Christian CD sales went up. Christian programs were viewed more. And then we just kind of settled back into our lethargy. And now we're seeing the results of that with all of the consequences, not only in the economy, but with our international affairs, and especially in our homes and our families. With the breakup of the family, with the increased violence and that kind of thing. So they began what was known as Cry Out America. And the Awakening Alliance gathered in Northampton, the site of the first Great Awakening, and they developed 20 indicators that if we are praying for America and an awakening, what would it look like? And so we've been focusing actually for 20 weeks now. So you were a little closer to right, Kim.
See, it happens.
Okay?
It always happens that way. Okay.
And each week we've been targeting one of the indicators. And the local chapter, or the local task force for Cry Out America, began last Wednesday with 24/7 prayer at North Cleveland Church of God, 4th floor prayer tower. There's security there for 24 hours. You can go anytime, day or night. And they have been having people come in, different churches, different pastors have helped to coordinate this, and they are having prayer consistently each day leading up to 9/11, and we're praying for the different spheres of influence in society. You may be familiar with that every culture has 7 spheres of influence. One would be, of course, the family, and then religion or the church. There's the government, the marketplace, the media, the arts and the entertainment, the sporting industry, that type of thing, education. And they've been praying and targeting each one of these spheres of influence and asking God to bring a Christ awakening or a spiritual awakening in those arenas. And I'm talking too much and I need to stop.
No,
if we talk, then they're not learning anything.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So, but that's, I mean, you had given us a few things, and the Awakening America Alliance has really done its job for a long time to really pull together this Cry Out America, and they have sponsored that in a sense. They have got this initiative that's been going on, and so it's a wonderful thing because you just don't, and a lot of us just don't realize what's out there, and that we can be a part of. That you feel that in your spirit and you feel that in your heart sometimes, but you don't know. Who can I partner with? Who can I, be a part of an organization that is going to, sometimes we need organization of our thoughts. I'm one of those scatterbrains, and I might pray about this for a second and then get, over here, and I'm worried about a puppy over something, but sometimes when you structure your thoughts in prayer for certain, like the 7 different areas in different countries and all of that, that you really have a definite cause that you're praying for and that you're binding together with other Christians. And so has this been a really a great experience for you and the other members as well with Cry Out America as the response you've gotten from our area?
Yes, Cleveland has been one of the best attended of all
course.
Around.
If it's not, we'd have to be embarrassed.
Yeah, the buckle of the Bible Belt. We should at least
New Jerusalem and everything.
I was in the first meeting with the board of directors for the center when they decided that they wanted to pursue this, and then they began to have the summits and all. And people often say, well, do I have to be a pastor or a minister or a Christian leader? No, absolutely not. This is about grassroots. This is about people like you and I that can go to the courthouse, go to our churches this year. It's really exciting that 9/11 is on a Wednesday, as you've already said, and a lot of churches across the nation have registered on our website and said, we're going to be participating, we're going to be having prayer for our nation. Last year, there were 2,600 prayer points across the nation.
Wow.
And about 260,000 people. And this year, we believe even more because Intercessors for America, one of the major prayer ministries in the nation, is sponsoring this and promoting it. One Cry, another initiative that's crying out to God for revival in America. Doug Small, who's with the International Church of God and their prayer ministries and has his own vital ministry in that arena, they're pushing it out. Jonathan Cahn, who wrote the book Harbinger. Some people
Right.
may be familiar with that.
I've got it at the house. I haven't done it, but I've got it right on my
Yes.
nightstand right now.
He and Michelle Bachman and others have called for a national day of prayer and repentance. And Billy now is the president of Oral Roberts University.
He done good, didn't he?
Yes.
We knew him way back when,
Yeah.
didn't we?
And he's having Jonathan Cahn to be their speaker.
Oh, wow.
He said
Great.
Oral Roberts University will be having their chapel focused on praying for America. Lee University students are actively involved in helping to volunteer for these 24/7 days of prayer, and their team is there, and they're leading in worship and prayer at the prayer tower. These kids are powerful the way they're excited about what God can do in the nation of America. And in addition to prayer, we're also putting legs on our prayers, you might say, that we are sponsoring 21 days of service in the community. And for 21 days following 9/11, Intercessors for America is promoting a time of fasting and prayer, but we're inviting the people of Cleveland and Bradley County to join with your church, join with this community, and serve one another. One of the ways we're going to do that is at the emergency shelter, a very vital ministry and service, community service here in our community, social service agency. We're going to be doing some painting, some repairing, some work and service there to help upgrade that facility, and say to the community, we don't only just talk to the Lord about it, but we care about you. So it's more like prayer, care, and share.
Right. It's putting a little legs behind. Exactly.
Right.
I mean, it's lots of things for people to patch and say, we're praying for you, but it's
Right.
another thing for them to show up on your front door.
Exactly.
And so I always marvel at that. We, in fact, you have, I don't think there's been a time in my life that I remember that I didn't know you, Kay, in a sense, because my memory is, but you're not that old, and I'm not either, but
Well,
you
we
know,
grew
we
up
got
together, yeah.
That's right. In a sense, I just don't remember as much, but we also have Tracy Shellhouse that comes in once a month. And you had the New Hope pregnancy for a long time, and she has had shoes to fill as far as for that. So you've always been a person that has been a force behind whatever ministry that you were involved in, and this has been a great something for me to learn about. I really didn't know about it. I did know about Cry Out America, but I didn't realize about the awakening that was behind that. I thought that it was just an entity of its own. And so you must be very passionate about this and for such a good cause. So what does everyone need to do today? Today's the day at the courthouse. They're going to be there at noon. Is that right? On the steps of the courthouse, or is there a room, or is it going to be just on the steps?
No, actually, in the front, I'm not sure. I'm not good on my directions. I'm thinking the east side of the courthouse, if I've got my directions correct.
Where the big bell.
Where the big bell is, the commemorative site there. We will be gathering. There will be lead singers will be singing and sharing. There will be a variety of generations. We're crossing generational and denominational lines, and we're all coming together, and there will be prayer and scripture and participation. If you can get there about 11:50, that would be great.
Right.
And it will go until 1 o'clock. You can take your lunch break. You can kind of skip lunch that day and in essence say to the Lord, I'm really serious about seeing a transformation in the nation of America, and specifically in Cleveland and Bradley County.
Right.
And then following that, Cleveland Net, I don't know if you ever have Lavanna and Larry Cockrum in, but they're with Cleveland Net. They're going to be having their open house of their facility.
Oh, well, good.
They're on Broad Street. They're opening a new office. And then that evening, churches across the city, be sure to go to your church. If your pastor hasn't gotten on board, encourage him in any of the ministries that you're having on Wednesday night and say, can we just set aside some time to pray and ask God to help deliver the nation of America from violence, from pornography, from sex trafficking, from all of the ills of society that tend to oppress and drag us down, and ask Him to bring back this love, this joy, this peace, those Christian attributes and those foundations that the nation was founded upon, and say, God, we want to go back, not in history and in time, but we want to go back to the foundations of Scripture. Because when you live your life according to the manual that the Creator gave us, somehow it just seems to function and operate better.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
We talk about that a lot, that when things are lined up right, you can feel that in your spirit. You can feel it in the way that you think, the things that come out of your mouth, that, and the things that happen to you in return. I mean, that you can tell that. And when you get off course a little bit, you can feel that weight and that burden that you get. So this is just really, I'm very proud to have you and to know you and to have had you on the program and Joe doing the infomercial with you. And we're very proud that our area, and we expect that. You expect that a certain, a bit from Cleveland and the Bradley County area, but that we are such a big participant, and as well as kind of probably a hub for that, because Billy being one of our buddies from way back when, there's a lot of people watching that remember Billy. Joe used to work for Billy,
That's
but
exactly
Billy
right.
worked. That's right.
Exactly
You told
right.
him how it was done, didn't you?
I did. I told him exactly how it was done.
Well, it's really interesting that a ministry that has literally impacted the nation has its spearhead organization right here in the small town of Cleveland, Tennessee.
Right.
And I think that speaks well of us,
I do too.
that God has entrusted this to us. And we have the privilege and the opportunity to just join him in what he's doing, and it's exciting.
That's right.
And it's exactly what our country was built on. Our forefathers, they saw that. That was what we were basing our country on. And you're right, it's kind of gotten away from that. Well, it really has gotten away from it. Trying to be nice there, but it has, and there needs to be a renewal.
Right.
And I think with this, and of course, as you said, this is the 6th year. So many more years, obviously, to come. But this is a great way for everyone in the community to get together and, like you said, to say, look, I'm standing up for this. I'm crying out, and that we do need to make a change.
Right.
And it needs to start now. I mean, hopefully it has started, but it needs to continue and then build and get bigger and bigger. So today, the 11th, we're talking at noon
At the
courthouse. And this is going on across the country. So all the courthouses across the country. The folks that are watching in Dayton, the Dayton Courthouse, Ray County Courthouse as well at noon, in Decatur, all the other areas around our area, viewing area that are watching us, go to your local courthouse at noon today, and the prayer vigil will go on for 1 hour till 1 o'clock.
What they can do, Joe, is they can go to the website at awakeningamerica.us.
Okay.
Awakeningamerica.us. You can click on your state and your county, and there should be a county coordinator's contact information that appears. If there's not a county coordinator, you don't need one, go to your county courthouse and pray. Sometimes we've had 2 people gather, sometimes we've had thousands. We've had people gather at their state capitals, go to a mountain overlooking their city and pray. The whole idea is that we have extraordinary, united prayer, seeking God on one focus, that he will bring a Christ awakening in America. And so if you don't have a county coordinator listed, you can go on and register and say, hey, I'm going to be there, and we'll get you plugged in. And so for 2014, we'll know that we've got a county coordinator in that area. I know there's going to be a gathering in Benton. I'm not sure of all of the areas around our city. The state capitol in Ohio, the state capitol in Kansas, the state capitol in Nevada. Governors, people are going to be participating, so you can know that you're a part of something much greater.
Absolutely.
And that you're helping to make an impact. You were speaking about Tracy and New Hope. I can remember when I was the director there at New Hope Pregnancy Care Center, and we would share and talk with the girls. I would use this illustration, and it came to mind that sometimes if you buy a car, say you bought a Mercedes-Benz, you wouldn't try to operate it with the Volkswagen manual.
Right.
It wouldn't function right, or even with a Ford manual. But sometimes we think we can take and function as creators of the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords in the world's way of doing things with the world's manual, and it just won't work.
Right.
We were created and formed with a vacuum in our hearts for a desire of a relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ, and really nothing else will satisfy that. And when we operate and come into an alignment with his directives in the Word, he just wants to protect us and provide for us and help us to live that life, that we can be in relationship with one another and we can experience something that the world doesn't know.
Right, exactly. And where 2 or more agree, So hopefully we have a lot more than 2 agreeing.
We'll have a whole lot.
A whole lot
Several
more.
hundred thousand.
Several
Hundred thousand.
Yeah, so it's a great event that's going to be happening. It has been happening, and it's going to be happening today again at noon. So make your way to the county courthouse at noon to 1, and join with everybody in the community as we pray for America. Kay, we want to thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joe and Kim.
Yes,
it's great
ma'am.
to be
Thank
with you
you.
again.
And tell Perry we said hey.
That's
I
right.
will.
All right. Folks, we're going to be back. We've got Ron Moore in the house and a lot more of Tennessee Valley this morning when we return after this. Please stay tuned.
Town Americana, where trucks are big and bold, and a handshake is firm, and your word is gold. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens is a $2,000 drive. Maybe you're coming from here or here, doesn't matter. Buying a truck from Don Ledford in Athens will save you at least $2,000 bucks. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens, a $2,000 drive worth making.
I'll take that drive every time.
At Crawford Pharmacy, we offer custom compounding. Our pharmacists are known for their attention to detail and unique expertise. So visit us at 2260 Chambliss Avenue, Cleveland, Tennessee. For personal assistance, walk right in or come up to our convenient drive-thru. Crawford Pharmacy, serving our community one person at a time.
On the anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attacks, Cry Out America gathers Christian believers at county courthouses across the nation to cry out in prayer. Each of us has a reason.
I believe in the power of prayer.
I'm doing this for my kids.
I'm praying for my friends.
I can't do it alone.
Spiritually, man, this country is falling apart.
But I've seen God move before.
This September, we will unite once more with one purpose: to focus prayer on awakening every state, every county, and every heart for Jesus Christ.
We need to turn.
Return.
I need to turn.
Humbly.
To God.
What is your reason?
Go to awakeningamerica.us
To find a prayer gathering in your community.
Then join us
At noon on September the 11th.
In front of your county courthouse.
Together, we will cry out to the Lord.
Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast in Cleveland, is the place to find quality pre-owned cars and trucks. Kyle offers on-the-spot financing on all vehicles on the lot. Each pre-owned vehicle goes through a complete inspection to make sure each car and truck meets the Kyle Motors standard. Warranty and extended warranties available on all vehicles. Kyle Motors will sell you a car or truck that you will be proud to drive for many years to come. See Tony, Bill, Dale, James, or David and let them put you in your next quality pre-owned vehicle. Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast. Phone 790-7100.
Are you having trouble filing for disability?
Seems no one is concerned about your pain, the waiting, the denials.
While some representatives will meet with you in court, we will meet with you now to discuss your plan. We'll review with you the same file that the judges will see. Call us now. Social Security Law Center at Logan Thompson.
You're entitled to better.
This segment of Tennessee Valley This Morning is brought to you by Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland and 2120 Chapman Road, Chattanooga. For your next new or previously owned vehicle, make it Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, the better way to buy. Welcome back to Tennessee Valley This Morning on WTMB. Joe and Kim Palo with you, joined by our good friend Ron Moore. our local historian, as it says on the bottom of
He's
the
like,
screen.
don't call me friend.
That's right. But Ron is here to drop out some history to us. So we're going to talk about
drop out something.
Something. It may be historic, it may not be, but I'm sure it is.
And today's very historic. 9/11, everything,
Yes.
Cried Out America, and all that. I hope people go down and take part in that today.
Yeah.
You know, it's a date that will live in
infamy.
Infamy,
Right.
is exactly
Well,
right.
I know you remember where you were.
Yes, I
We
do.
all do. I
Yes,
don't think I've
and,
ever met anyone that doesn't
I remember where I
they were.
was when John F. Kennedy was killed, and that's another date everyone will remember where they are. And
was too
I want
young.
to continue to talk about dates. This is just not about Bradley County history. This is about history from ancient times and from the world.
Right.
This Friday is Friday the 13th.
Oh, that's right.
So, and I wondered, why is there a problem with Friday the 13th? Why is it considered unlucky? So I said, well, let's go find out. Well, first off, 12 is the great number in life.
Okay.
13 is sort of the incomplete number. 12 is the complete number. Let's take, for example, you get 12 donuts, a dozen donuts.
True.
There are 12 months of the year.
Mm-hmm.
There are 12 hours on the clock. There were 12 gods of Olympus. There were 12 tribes of Israel. 12 apostles of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things were set up into
12 days of Christmas.
12 days of Christmas.
That's what Joe cares
Very
about.
good. Very good. There are 12 signs of the zodiac.
Mm-hmm.
13 is incomplete. If you remember the Last Supper, how many people attended the Last Supper? 13, the 12 apostles
And Mary
Jesus.
Magdalene.
And
Well,
some-
Mary Magdalene.
Mary
made it.
wasn't there.
She was there in the picture of the.
No, that was the wine
That's
steward.
Well,
You
it
need
looked
to-
like it, but it looked like it was Mary. It was Mary Magdalene.
And it's always now believed that if you have 13 people for dinner, someone will die.
Oh,
I
didn't
didn't
know
plan
that.
it that
So, so don't ever
No.
invite that odd friend.
Right.
I'm not talking about their
Or
personality.
when you're
I'm
invited for
talking
dinner,
about
say,
that
I just
person.
need to know what number I am.
Yes,
right.
Of an invitation.
But, and of course, and then, so 13 is a number from ancient times. It's just not a lucky number. You know, there's hotels and buildings and things in big cities that don't have a 13th floor.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You're
It
right.
goes 12 to 14, so 13's bad. Friday also is a bad day. The fact is, it's the day that Jesus was crucified.
Right.
So now you add 13 and Friday together. You know, there's a lot of, in the Canterbury Tales, it talks about you don't want to start a new project on Friday, or you don't want to start a trip on Friday. And there's a lot of that can go back to religion. You know, the Jewish holiday, Jewish Sabbath starts
Right,
on
it's Friday,
Friday,
sundown.
so you wouldn't want to go out and start a new project on that day. And then also the weekend's coming, and people don't work on the weekend.
That's
So there's a
right.
lot of that. So Friday the 13th has become bad. But it's all just folklore.
Yes.
There is nothing to it except there's a list of people who've died on Friday the 13th. You can go
There's a
look
bunch
up
of movies,
a lot of
too.
famous people, you know, and the movies. But the superstition really didn't start until like the 19th century, although the Canterbury Tales were a little earlier than that. But in the 1800s, basically, people started getting the superstition of it. The superstitions are so bad that there's actually a disease or a phobia that's named, and I didn't write down the phobia because there's no way I was going to be able to say it. Part of the word's Italian for the word Friday, but it was phobia. And just take my word for it. You can look it up. Look up Friday the 13th. But they're said in America alone, there's probably 21 million people that have this phobia of Friday the 13th.
How many?
21
I
million
will tell you
people.
this. I have an uncle,
my
may he rest in
goodness.
peace, that had it severe.
Yes.
And on Friday the 13th, he would stay in bed,
Yes.
my Uncle Sonny, would not go outside,
Really?
would not do anything outside of the bed. He stayed in bed all day because he had that phobia for that day. It was really, really bad.
Now, see, he was Irish too, and so that they have
But
a lot
it
of
is real. And just what you said, people do not get out of bed. They will not cook. They will not drive a car. They will not go to work. They will not shop. They won't ride a train. They won't do anything because they have a complete phobia. You know, people have phobia of snakes and spiders and falling and different things. This is as true phobia as anything else that these people have here. And, you know, I've never heard of anybody, you know, your uncle there, is that. And ironically about this, Friday the 13th cost America business about $900 million on that day.
Oh my goodness.
Lost wages.
Right, because
people don't go to restaurants. They don't shop. They don't do things. So the economy actually suffers on a Friday the 13th.
Wow.
So, and so $900 million. Also, there's been studies, there are fewer car accidents, fewer falls and trips and workman comp injuries on Friday the 13th.
And that's because nobody's
Because
working.
of the phobia,
Yeah.
people are not working as much. And there are people who don't have the phobia that bad, but they take it just a little bit more careful. They're not going to do skydiving that day, you know. And they say, "Well, I'm not going to chop that cordwood today, you know, for the fire. I won't do that today." So there are a lot of that, you know. But some of these myths comes all the way from the Da Vinci Code, you know, which is a big story come out.
That's where Mary was
in the picture.
She was in the picture right there next to Jesus with a long
But the French killed the hundreds of the Knights of the Templar on Friday the 13th.
Oh, really?
So this is one part. If you go back through ancient times, you'll find references to that. In 2013, there are 2 Friday the 13th. The next one's in December. You know when that is? It's on Friday the 13th.
Yeah. Boy, that got me confused. It's like who's buried in Grant's tomb?
Yeah. That Friday the 13th will be in December on Friday the 13th. Okay. So I just thought you'd pass that.
I'm still trying to figure it out. He still got me confused. I just say all of us put our big boy and big girl panties on and get over this phobia Friday the 13th, right?
Well, I don't know. I know we lost a lot of money, but there is a lot, you know, there's a lot less accidents and things going wrong on those days. So where do you balance it?
I mean, Dan Marino had no problem with the number 13.
Yes, he did.
One
He
of the
didn't win a
greatest
Super Bowl.
quarterbacks in NFL history. Hush, let him talk.
But you know, 2/13, the next one, and next year there are only one.
Oh.
You know when it is?
Friday the 13th.
On Friday the 13th.
But what month? What month?
In June.
In June.
And there will always be a Friday the 13th at least every 14 months.
Okay. Takes that long for it to come back.
Well, no, not necessarily, because there are 2 this year. Some years there'll be 2 or 3.
The leap year.
It's just a cycle, but there will be one every 14 months. So you may miss one entire year, and if you go online, you can find out when the next Friday the 13th is for the next 20 years.
And I bet there are people that really try to find out to know this day I'm at home, this day, you know, because they have to find out.
Got to plan their sick days.
Yeah, exactly.
But the bottom line is there is no more reason to fear Friday the 13th than there are Thursday the 11th. Or the 12th. I had to do my math here. Wednesday the 11th.
Right.
And Thursday the. Actually, probably are more fear of the 9/11 now than any other time, because you know last year we had the attack on our Benghazi. So you know, will there be people do things on this 11th to as a symbol? There may be. I think the whole world needs to be hyped and scared, and I wouldn't worry about Friday the 13th.
No,
now, if you have that phobia, just don't add the 11th to your phobias and stay out for the whole month.
No kidding.
Or the whole week.
We need you at work.
That's right.
But like I say, going back reading, there's ancient times or this, and the list of people who've died on a Friday the 13th is pretty impressive when you go look at it. But I say if you went and looked at the people who died on September 11th or September 12th or June 13th or June 14th, you'll find a whole lot of list too there. So it's just that one day, and like I say, the Da Vinci Code, the movie and the book had come out, I think 2003, has really heightened the July 13th problem.
Yeah, and I
Friday
the 13th.
And I think a lot of people, they may fall into it because maybe somebody in their family has been that way, and they start seeing that, and they start getting influenced by that, so they start having a problem with it. But you're right. There's no different. In fact, if you don't really think of the date and try not to remember, there's a lot of people that they're out in the day. They're out on Friday the 13th, not remembering it's the 13th, doing their normal things, and then it's like, ooh, today's Friday the 13th. I need to go back home or whatever. But nothing happens.
Need to be careful.
No, there's no magical. There's no reason. There's no biblical reference or anything. It says, but like I say, the 12 and the 13, the numbers represent completeness, incompleteness, and then on the Friday and things. So there's a lot of people who do that. There are even people who have phobias about being just a fan of the Miami Dolphins. There's phobias about that.
I don't know of anybody who has that.
They're scared to death.
People that are afraid of winning. Go ahead.
So, but and you talk about things happen to the families. I'm sure your sons are big Miami Dolphin fans because you're that way. There are things that you eat. Things. A popular story I heard was a lady cook cut the ends of her hams off before she baked it, and her daughter asked her mother, says, "Why do you do that?" And she says, "Well, because my mother always did that." And she says it's supposed to improve the flavor. So she said, "Well, go ask your grandmother." They go ask your grandmother. Say, "Why did you cut the end of the hams off?" She said, "The pan wasn't big." So we have a lot of traditions and things around the world. Friday the 13th to be added to that.
Yeah, and again, it's not there's nothing wrong with that day than there is any other day, but because it's kind of gotten that publicity, so to speak.
Well, and there's been 100
but I would say
about
this, if you go out Friday morning and your tire is flat,
go back to
bed.
Yeah, no kidding.
Go back to bed.
Because it's not
going to hit you like that.
It won't get any better.
But and we don't want to, and if you do have that fear, don't let that fear keep you away from going to a Friday night football game Friday, okay? Because, some people think, but no, go out, support the teams, go out. It's just a regular day, regular Friday.
My dad, I remember when I was a young boy, if a black cat ran in front of him, he would stop his car and he'd turn around and he would go a different way. And if you couldn't go a different way, he just didn't go where we were going.
No kidding.
He would literally turn around and drive away and go. He'd circle all the way around Bradley County to get someplace else if he was going. We were going.
Now, what if you were driving and a black cat darts out like some cats do, and it just doesn't
hit
make it, and you hit it?
And he was stopped and backed up and turned around. And there's this thing you cross out. You're supposed to do this on your windshield and turn your head around twice. And literally, there's all kinds of little things you do to ward off the black cat. Yeah.
Well, if you ever watch, and there is a popular beer commercial on TV that talks about superstition in ball games and certain things you do or not do. There's ball players there's one in particular that's in the NFL that wears the exact same undershirt under his pads that he's worn since high school.
Yes.
It's ragged, it's ratty.
And he hadn't washed it.
And he hasn't washed it, is right, because he's got the superstition that makes him play better. So I think it's because it smells so bad at this point, nobody gets near him.
Right.
So, but there's a lot of superstitions.
There are meals, there are all kinds of superstitions. So, but today when I said, well, what am I going to talk about? I said, or yesterday when I was working on it, I said, what will I talk about? And they said, well, I said, Friday the 13th. I said, that's interesting. Why do we have Friday the 13th? And it's not a holiday.
Yeah,
although some people will take off work.
Right.
Yeah. Now, and so what if a holiday, well, I don't guess there would be a holiday that would fall on the 13th of Friday. Maybe there would be, like a birthday. Maybe it's your birthday. If you're born on the 13th, it becomes a Friday. What if that's the case? What if you have the phobia Friday the 13th, you were born on the 13th, and every once in a while, it's a Friday, your birthday falls on. What do you do?
It's according to how your life has been.
That's true. You have to kind of analyze that part of it and say, well, it's not been too bad for me at this point. But on the other hand, I have 5 fingers. Anyway, so we've got just a few minutes left. So Friday the 13th, let's also talk about this.
Let's talk about Football Friday.
Well, before we talk about Football Friday, we'll get into that. I do want to find out, this past Saturday on Whoop Radio on Old Town Cleveland, you and Debbie, what was the subject you all talked about?
We talked about Polk County, and we talked predominantly about the building of the Parksville Dam.
Okay.
And Joe Fetzer, F-E-T-Z-E-R, I always want to add N on there. He runs the corn maze. If you go up 411, as you go across the Ocoee River, look to your left, the corn maze there. And he grew up there. His family was one of the families who lived right where the Parksville Dam is, where the Parks family ran a mill there.
Okay.
And that's how come it became Parksville.
Right.
And when they first started building the dam, that first dam, they used the mill as some of the offices, and they actually used the mill to generate some of the electricity they needed before they had the dam. It's pretty interesting, that they had electricity, and they started the dam in 1910, and in 18 months they had built the dam, and it was producing electricity. You can't get a permit in 18 months.
Yeah, no
kidding. To stop a river.
Yeah, no kidding.
And so there were several people died in building the dam, and so.
Oh, that's right. That picture that you posted on Facebook of that guy that fell off, and he fell off the dam. It was 110 feet, I think you said, and all he did was lost some fingers and toes when it was all said and done. And then Ron, when I saw him Friday night, because he had posted it that day on Facebook, and I was like, I had put a comment, fingers and toes. That's all. But then Ron explained to me
that he slid down the 110 feet.
And he tried to stop himself with his feet.
As he tumbled, he would get his hand underneath him, and it burned his fingers and toes off where he was trying to catch hold.
Ow.
And but he was sitting on top of the dam with his hands taped up. His name was Christ Di Gerontolanti, or he was an Italian, but his first name was Christ.
Well, check out the Hometown Cleveland Facebook page. There's a lot of Old Town Cleveland Facebook page. They do a lot of great posting. You want to friend them. You actually really do, because that's one of the great things. In the middle of the day, you'll get something interesting to come across, and you see that because you guys always post really good things.
I posted a 1934 picture of the Big Springs girls basketball team.
Yes, you did.
To see their outfits was that, and they were risque.
Yes, they were
risque for the time, and but they were interesting. And we post pictures of maybe just a bunch of kids sitting on the side of the street, but they turned out to be somebody's grandpa now.
That's
exactly.
right.
So just those old photos. And
what do you got for this Saturday?
This Saturday, gosh, I don't know. It's top of my head.
You can check with the boss.
We need to call them.
I'll have to.
We need to call the boss.
Check with the boss and find out exactly what this Saturday show is.
I don't remember.
That's all right.
It'll come to him about 3 o'clock in the morning.
I'm working on the end of October right now, and I forget what we're doing this Saturday.
I know.
So,
I get that a lot.
But don't forget Football Friday night,
Friday,
the 13th. But we've got our
I might need to stay home.
The new set,
I'm scared.
campus of Walker Valley High School.
Oh,
our
it's
good
great,
friend
great.
Scott Webb,
Yeah, great
Beautiful.
video productions. The highlights were some really great highlights last week. I thought
Mitchell
with the
Thomas
music, did that.
did a great job.
So,
and in fact, we've had a lot of comments since we've been there of late. People saying, "Man, I like that new set. I like your Football Friday show." So we've had a lot of good comments on it. And it's a beautiful, beautiful set.
We're doing it at Walker Valley, but I just want to tell the Cleveland folks and Bradley folks.
Yes.
This show's still about the local high school team.
Absolutely.
They have a great facility at Walker Valley that they're sharing with us here, and I think that's just great. And so my Bradley fans, nothing wrong with me going to Walker Valley, talking good about Bradley football.
That's right, talking about Bradley football. We have 2 graduates of Bradley, so we bleed black and gold. But
we would love to do shows from all high schools. If the other schools will get on board too and get a nice set in a studio and develop their program, we'd love to come out and visit all the high schools.
Walker Valley's media program is just unbelievable.
Yes.
It really is.
Yes, and Scott has worked with us for many years. He's helped us with the parade. He's helped us with the block party. He's been a part of that. He's been a part of Football Friday for a long time. So he's just kind of partnered with us. And it just so happens that he's a Walker Valley man. But we are so grateful and so thankful to Scott Webb and the whole program. Well, actually, the whole county program. Because the county is.
And we do give Scott a hard time. I do remind him about the goalposts being
down
every once in a while.
We do talk about that and how my son Matt and I cried in the middle of the field after that happened, and after we beat Walker Valley that year. But the good thing is of course, as you said, we highlight all the area schools, and we talk about all the area schools. We try to get highlights of as many games as we can, or at least one if we can. And then we talk about all the schools. We got callers calling from all 6 area schools that we represent. So.
And there's a trivia question every week where you can win a pizza.
Absolutely, that's true.
And that's right, and it gets real difficult sometimes from out there. But I did want to say, Joe, and I don't mean to change the subject, but I am for just a second, today is September the 11th, and Jay from Blood Assurance was supposed to be here we talked about in the beginning, but he couldn't make it, and so we do want to encourage everyone out there that that you do want to give blood, that it is
The gift
something
of
that
life.
everybody can do. It's the gift of life. It's easy, and there are so many promotions. But on September the 11th in 2001, if it wouldn't have been for so many blood donors, and they didn't know that day, no one knew what was going to happen that day, but the blood banks were just, depleted completely. But thankfully, the people got together and they were lining up to give blood all over the country for that. But so you guys remember today also that you don't have to do it today, but do it this week, do it this month. Give blood to your local blood assurance or where else?
The Red Cross.
The Red Cross, wherever that it's convenient for you to give blood. Please give blood and stock those blood banks.
If you have a rare type blood, that's very, very important. The O positive is what most people have,
right.
But those AB negatives and things like
Yes.
that, if you have something like that, those supplies run out quicker
Yes.
because there's just not as much of it there.
Right.
Absolutely.
So, but the O positive, give that too. Everything that good, healthy blood is
That's right.
important
Yeah.
because we never know when it's going to hit. What
We
hits
don't.
here or anywhere
And
else.
it could be just a traffic accident. It doesn't necessarily have to be a tragedy that happened in 2001. And this is another point. We've always talked with Jay about this, just so you know. If you are a diabetic person or a person with some issues, health issues, they still take your blood. The way that blood is taken today, that has no effect whatsoever on it. So if you can give, please do. And there's people that give, of course, the plasma part, the blood, the platelets. They separate all that out. So it's the way it's done today is a lot different than the way it used to be.
Yes, it is. And the blood's so clean, guys. The blood's so clean that it's not even funny. And right now, they will give you, I bleed for whatever college you attend or you like. If you're Vols, they'll give you a I bleed orange, or I don't even want to talk about the other ones. We'll only talk about I bleed orange. So you guys,
throw a little aqua in there
that's
too.
That's right. If
I
you
bleed
bleed
a little aqua
orange,
in
right
orange.
now they are giving T-shirts that say that to your college, your favorite college team. But we're going to only talk about the I bleed orange, and then you can register for the month of September for a $500 Ticketmaster card. So any of the sporting events that are going on in our area, concerts, all kinds of stuff that Ticketmaster promotes, then you'll be able to use that $500 winnings. So for this month, every donor gets to register for that door prize. And then also the schools have the Court of Courage, so you might want to get involved in that at your local high school, the Court of Courage, to do that and to give blood when the truck comes around to the local high school. So I just wanted to mention that because Jay was unable to be here, and we did want to encourage
we'll give him a
everyone
hard
to
time
give
about
blood.
that. We
That's
talked
right.
to him. Hey, and don't forget today, if you're watching this at noon, run real quick. Go to the courthouse. If you're watching this at 6:30 this morning, of course, then today at noon, in front of the Bradley County Courthouse, Cry Out America, the prayer vigil will go on from noon to 1 o'clock. Make your plans to be there. Try to get there, as Kay was saying earlier, about 11:50 if you can. If you can't get there to even 12:15, 12:30, as long as you show up, try to get there if you can today at some point.
You'll want to go earlier because the parking is going to be unbelievable.
And that's a wonderful thing. We want to thank Kay Horner for being with us today on Tennessee Valley This Morning. Also, our good friend Ron Moore for being with us as well. We're sorry Jane Bumgarner was unable to be, but we'll have her back again at some other show down the road. But have yourself a good rest of the day. Today it is Wednesday the 11th. And remember, don't ever forget. Make your way to the courthouse if you can at noon, okay? Have yourself a good rest of the day. We'll see you next Wednesday on Tennessee Valley This Morning. For Kim, I'm Joe, and Ron, thank you guys so much. We'll see you.